Warning: the following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Coach's Box, episode 235. Guess what? We're going streaking! We're going up to the quad and to the gymnasium! Yeah! Oh, wait, no. I'll put my shirt back on. But that is what our episode is tonight, and we kind of stopped the streak. As soon as Chris put out the montage for the show, the Cardinals lose, but they are.
It's called a thumbnail. It's called
they are winning right now, 12-7.
Montage.
So, you know, whatever.
One picture.
I just spit out whatever comes into this small brain of mine, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we're going to the quad works.
What I'll tell you what an underrated and forgot about movie Old School is. It was so funny.
That
was
seems
classic.
one of the best.
I mean, you guys realize that movie came out in 2003. How long ago was 2003 if we do the math?
Some of the freshmen I'm teaching weren't even alive.
Some of the teachers, I think,
none of
they're teaching.
None of them. None of them were alive. I mean, Dylan wasn't alive. Jill was alive. Holy crap. That was a long time ago.
Some of the freshmen weren't alive.
Wait, none of the freshmen are alive.
Dude.
My math is bad. Okay, but I didn't think before I spoke.
Man. When do you?
We're at the end of the school year, man.
Yes, it is. My brain is ready for school to be out, and I'm ready to work a different job for a while.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I think everybody can agree we are all ready for school to be out, whether you are a teacher or a student. Probably not a parent, because you're like, no, you keep them.
No, you go to summer school.
You go to summer school, yeah. Or you want to go to church camp? Is there a camp you can go to? You want to stay with your grandparents? They can take you. So yeah, I'm done. I mean, I'm done. I'm ready for it. You can tell the kids are, and it's a full moon. To just let's put all that on there. It's a full moon.
Do you have a full week next week, sir?
Yeah, I got a full week. It was my dog. Yeah.
Are you guys already out over there, Kevin?
No, we've got the rest of this week, and then underclassmen exams Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, we don't start exams until Wednesday of next week, and then we go Wednesday, Thursday, and a half day on Friday.
Yeah, we're half day.
We're all half days on those exam days.
Yeah, that was the one thing I am going to miss, is having those exam half days that we had at Pius. Those are really nice. We don't quite have those at Fox. No.
I've been in another public school that had them, and it was nice when you were high. But then what happened was the elementary and junior high teachers were complaining, that we were getting out half a day.
They could just have exams. What's wrong with those kids taking tests? Is this a shape? Yeah.
Like I've always been told, Mama, you make choices, and some of us chose to be high school teachers, some of us chose to be elementary, some of us chose to be middle school. Some of us chose to be coaches, and it's just that's how it is.
Yeah, if you see a fork in the road, you pick it up. That's what Yogi Berra said.
And sometimes a fresh voice makes you go to a different fork, but you just never know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get right into this topic. You completely killed my segue, but that's okay. Our topic of our show, obviously, the Cardinals were streaking up until, thanks doubleheader, killed the whole thing. Someone already told me I jinxed it. Okay, yeah, because me putting a graphic out there and saying, "Hey, they're winning games," really killed them. No, it didn't. The fact that their offense kind of sputtered out, that's what killed them. But
Jordan Walker had a hit in RBI.
Yeah, this is the only RBI they had, wasn't it?
185 now or something, man.
Oh, so he's just below the Mendoza line.
Gosh, he's bad.
Jordan Mendoza.
Oh my gosh, Burleson looked like a right fielder there, a bad right fielder. Oh man, that was.
That kid you put out in right field because
Burleson should be replaced right now for defensive replacement. That was bad. But the Phillies just had an error in center field too. The inning before it gave us a few runs, and now I guess Burley's feeling forgiving here, and it's just bad play.
He's feeling Catholic. It's all about the giving.
I guess
he's swinging the stick though.
That's right.
Yeah, it is. It's just a shame we have too many guys that are DHs. Man.
Like a beer league softball team.
Yeah, we need to get rid of a few is our problem.
That is also a fact. Kevin, you're the guy who's been hashtag 91 wins every time we say something. So this is your floor. I feel like right now, since the Cardinals have won 9 of their last 10, you can go ahead and you can talk about this winning streak and what you've seen and your thoughts on it. If the floor is yours, sir.
Well, the sustainable part of this winning streak is the offense. The offense will sustain. It'll have its blips in games like it did earlier today, but I think that we've seen enough out of the offense in this last streak that you can see this is a team that will live offensively. The pleasant surprise during this streak has been the starting pitching outside of Sonny Gray today.
I was a little surprised by that.
Well, and Aaron Nola was just as bad as Sonny Gray today. So if there's going to be some regression back to the mean here in this type of thing. But if the offense can keep this team afloat and you can get serviceable starting pitching, I think there really is a chance to get 91 wins this year.
Man, that's a bold statement, Cotton. Jason, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I'm on the feel good bandwagon right now about the Cardinals. The bullpen has turned it around a little bit. They were 25th in the majors not too long ago, but they're starting to get better. I'll have to say, man, Kyle Leahy the other night was phenomenal. Like, he was blowing people away, putting the ball right in the perfect spots, and he looked phenomenal. We know Helsley's good. They've turned it around. Even JoJo Romero looked pretty good tonight. So, man, I like that we're being successful. I'm worried about Jordan Walker, and I'm worried about what you're going to do with people like Walker and the other all or nothing third baseman. What's his name?
Gorman.
Because Stormin Gorman is not Stormin. He is bad. One home run, 9 RBIs. No. And either is Jordan Walker. So those are two spots that worry me. But overall, our lineup is pretty, man. You get Herrera back. Look, he just comes right back in and starts hitting. We can hit. Is the pitching going to last, Kevin? That's the key.
That is the key. I've been impressed with the way the starting pitching going deeper into games, 6-7 innings a game. Outside of Michaelis's, I think 5 1/3 the other day. I want to see. I would like to see them get a little younger in the starting rotation, and I wouldn't mind seeing McGreevy or Graceffo get a chance in the starting lineup consistently.
Both.
And if they're not there, put them in the bullpen. They're some of your best arms. If you're trying to win, put them in the bullpen and let them pitch out of there. It didn't exactly turn Adam Wainwright into some crappy pitcher by doing that early in his career.
He only was in the bullpen for his first year, and then he became a full-time starter right after that.
Yeah, but why not do that
with 06 and boom, right into it.
Why not do that with those guys now, just to get them in the big league and get their taste of it without the pressure necessarily of being a starter? So,
well, Kevin, why do you come out and say our main priority in the offseason is to trade Nolan Arenado? And it's May 14th, and who does Nolan Arenado play for? I gotta look it up.
He is playing pretty well this year. He's playing much better this year than he did last year.
I mean, he is hitting 257, which I guess is the new 270.
Yes.
Well, you go down our lineup. I mean, Newt Bar's 252, Donovan's 304, Contreras 256.
Does he get on base?
Arenado 257, Victor Scott 281.
Victor Scott, to me, besides Donovan and how well he's hit, now he's not hit. Donovan's not hitting 380 like he was. He's down to 304. But Victor Scott actually being able to put the ball in play. He has 11 stolen bases now in 39 games, which that's very promising. His on-base percentage is 347. He's hitting 281. That, to me, is probably the reason why the bottom of the lineup is putting guys on base for Newt Bar. And if Newt Bar can either get on base, draw a walk, hit somebody, get a hit, that's why he's got 22 RBIs, is because there's guys at the bottom of the lineup that are getting on base. And that's why the offense works, because you can't get your 7, 8, 9 guys. Can't be 3 straight outs.
I mean, Burleson might have had that error, but he's got a 2-run homer, 2 singles, and 4 RBIs. So, I mean, you can't argue what he's doing with his bat. I'll tell you what, I hope Wynn can stay healthy, because he's a lightning bolt in that lineup. He's already got 4 homers, which you weren't expecting him to hit a lot of home runs, but he's got some pop in that glove. And now Burleson is done for the night, because, it's that time to get a defensive guy in the 9th inning. So he's getting pitch ran for. But here's old Gorman, single in the 3rd. He did have a single today.
You talk about Arenado, and I think, what did we kind of discuss during the offseason? That Gorman would be the guy at third base.
That's what we'd hoped.
But I'm actually kind of glad Arenado's the one that's at third base and not.
Yeah, so am I. I mean,
not Gorman. He just hasn't. I don't know that he hasn't been given a fair shot, but he hasn't really shown that he needs to deserve a fair shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, and as little at bats as he's had, he's got 24 strikeouts. I mean, you got 71 at bats, and out of those 71, 24 strikeouts.
That's a 37% K rate.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be 40.
Which would be Chris's high school numbers.
I think their hope was he was going to be like a Kyle Schwarber type, but he's not. And I don't know.
The problem is I feel like they really hurt his development last year by putting him in Memphis to finish the year. They should have just said, you know what, we're going to see what we got in you and let's go.
Let him ride it out. Yes.
Yeah, man. I mean, it kills confidence, and now he's done. He's done. We've talked about this ad nauseum. The guy is mentally fried. To be honest, man, I'm going to hate saying this, because I still think there's something there. I think I got to trade him.
Yeah, while he's still got some name and upside, you get something out of him.
Well, while you
somewhere.
still have like the ability, you know, some cost control salary, and he's still young enough. Every year that you don't, you're losing a year that's valuable to him as value in return, because you don't want to trade a guy who's 29 years old. You want to trade a guy who's 26 if you're not going to keep him. And there's going to be somebody pretty soon who's going to feel like we're one piece away, and it's a guy who can mash a little bit when he runs into one. To me, Nolan Gorman would thrive as a New York Yankee, because there's no pressure, bro. Just go in there and swing. You don't get a hit, great. Hey, Judge is coming up. All right, you're good. You're good. All right, you're good. All right, cool. And he's got short right field porch.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Yankees would be probably a good, and we've had some former Cardinals go over there and that have done pretty
Paul
well.
Goldschmidt.
Voit. And that, Voit was the one I was thinking. Even
Goldschmidt.
Carpenter, even Carpenter, you know, hit decent for them for a while. I mean,
wait. I since you brought it up, I am going to be the guy who ADD's up right here. Matt Carpenter has officially retired today.
Did you hear it? I missed it. And he's
what?
Nothing.
Jason doing play-by-play to a thing that we're not watching.
Well, you should be watching.
We're trying to do this show. You know, it's kind of important. Anyway, Matt Carpenter is retired.
Yes.
So
where's our man at? Where's Ron Rhodes?
He's probably still got girls basketball practice. So his open gym hasn't finished yet. He'll come in.
He's on a recruiting trip in Latvia.
Maybe you are correct there, Doug Schaefer. Maybe Gorman and Walker need torpedo bats.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's working. Two of the Yankees, we mentioned one of them. Well, I mentioned both of them. Aaron Judge is leading Major League Baseball with a .412 batting average. I mean, he's on another level. By the way, I've seen pictures of his batting stance from 3 and 4 years ago to now. I mean, he is tight with his stance. You could tell he's put in work and made adjustments. Oh, and the aforementioned Paul Goldschmidt, who's hitting .346, and he's usually batting leadoff.
5 homers and 22 RBIs. Not too shabby for Paul Goldschmidt.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done that here.
Well, no, because our hitting philosophy was dog crap, and you know, it's also not a hitter's friendly park. But he's also right-handed. Judge is right-handed. Judge has led the league.
It's the change of scenery. It always does. Anybody. Goldschmidt did the same thing when he left Arizona to come here. He had a pretty good year. Then it kind of I don't know that it's sustainable at his age in Yankee Stadium as a right-handed hitter.
I don't know. Somehow it seems like guys hit well when they're right-handed at Yankee Stadium when they shouldn't. I'm not really sure why that is, but Judge doesn't hit. He's not a pull hitter. That's what a lot of people. He gets a hold of one, and a lot of those things are hitting like right center. He might actually be late.
Oppo gap hitter type of thing. Yeah,
kind of is. Yeah. So it's not.
And Goldschmidt is to an extent.
Yeah, but there's a couple of guys right there, and Aaron Judge also has 15 home runs. So he's kind of a player.
Him and Kyle Schwarber tied for the league.
Yeah. But it's as a fan of the Cardinals, it is nice to see them being successful. I just have my doubts to the sustainability that they can just continue on with, what they're doing. And a lot of it still goes back to, and anybody who wants to pull up the receipts, I don't trust the bullpen, and I sure as hell don't trust guys like Michaelis pitching as a starter. So, yeah, I worry about that. Do they stay healthy? Do they continue to pitch well?
I'm looking for the day that Michaelis develops the hamstring pull that puts him on the 15-day that he never comes off of.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Michaelis got that kind of news, so then that way McGreevy can come up.
The Dodgers style of injury listing players.
Yes. But it's
there's another RBI for Newt.
There you go. See, and Newt Barr staying healthy has been important too. And we said, what are they? It's kind of a year for him to show that he was the guy to keep and not Tommy Edman. And then Donovan had to be the guy they need, show he's the guy and he keeps at Tommy Edman. Both of them have performed well enough. I think that we can put that one to bed. They picked the right guys.
I agree. I looked up Aaron Judge's spray chart, and boy, there's a lot to right field, man.
Yeah.
Told you.
But Chris, thankfully you said that before Zach got on the show.
Yeah.
Because Zach still thinks that trading Edman was the wrong thing to do.
Well, he's a switch hitter, guys. I mean, it's hard to get a good switch hitter. I mean, he's still playing for the Dodgers, and he's hitting .252. He's got 8 home runs. But he also is sitting in the best lineup that money can literally buy.
Yeah, I mean, 24 RBIs. He's got a good, but you're right. Look at where he's playing. He's on the 10-day DL right now.
Yeah, and the Dodgers just roll these guys out there. I mean, their lineup is just on another level of crazy. I mean, good God. Okay. Everybody in their lineup would be a stud for us, except for maybe Michael Conforto. Everybody else in their lineup would be like, a 4 or 5 hitter for us. Easy. Maybe not Andy Pagas. He's the other one, but he is having a good year too. He's at .272, so he would be our 3 hitter. But Cardinals, hey, I mean, they're a game and a half now behind the Chubbies. If they win this game, then they'll be half a game behind the Chubbies.
They put up 14 runs so far in this game.
Well, I mean,
and there's another hit. Jeez. I mean, Donovan's a hitting machine.
The question is though, we fired our hitting coach and we hired a new hitting coach, and everybody's like, oh, it's not the hitting coach, it's actually the guy swinging the bat. How much do people listen to the hitting coach? Well, maybe they actually are.
I think one of the best hires they did was John Jay. So when I went up to Dylan's, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, or not Dylan, Jill's, sorry. When I went up to Jill's St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Victor Scott spoke. And when he did, he talked about John Jay for about 10 minutes and about what he's brought to the Cardinals. And I sat and listened to some of the things he talked about. And, John Jay gets there early. He's there late. All the things, not just fielding. They're talking hitting, everything. And I always liked John Jay as a player. I think that was a really good hire by Marmol and staff. I'm still not sold on Marmol, but
I'm not.
I do like his feistiness. I can kind of like a guy that gets thrown out once in a while. That's, I've never gotten thrown out of a game, but, I've watched Marmol get thrown out of a lot. But I think John Jay was a big hire for them.
I agree. Speaking of, people who are having trouble with officials, Jason, how many technical fouls did you receive this year?
None.
I didn't get any either. Kevin, how many times have you gotten a yellow card or
Actually, none.
Oh,
they gave it to the head coach.
Oh, come on.
Who's the head coach?
Pam Zaring, our head coach. I'm the one that went to the captain's meeting at the beginning of the game, and when they ask, hey, are all your players properly equipped? I say yes. So in the middle of the game, when one of our girls still left her earrings in, they came over to me, showed me the yellow card. but when they reported it to Misha, they have to give it to the head coach. So I saw the official.
Still yours.
I saw the official
It's still yours.
3 days later at another game, and he goes, "You fooled me, man. I gave you that card. It needed to go to somebody else." And goes, "Well, I just did the meeting."
When we get technicals, Chris, and they weren't reported, they didn't count. Well, except in the eyes of some people's AD. But, it is what it is.
But anyway, I just thought I had to bring that up.
I'm 2.5 years without a technical.
I'm on 2 right now.
First,
so
it's technically my first yellow card in about 20 years.
Wow, look at you.
It's hard. I don't care what anyone says. It's hard not to get a technical as a head basketball coach. It is. A varsity head basketball coach is going to piss off somebody or get pissed off about something once. And now it's so quick to call them. That warning thing that they put out, I've seen that used like once or twice ever. Buddy got warned one time this year, which was kind of funny. Because Buddy never gets anything. He got a warning this year.
He doesn't get mad.
No, and he got a warning this year. I was rolling. But
Marmol, though, I mean, I agree with you, Jason. I like the fact that he
defends his players.
He's feisty. And I like that. But I also like a guy who knows how to make good decisions for the team. And can run a bullpen, and is not a puppet for the front office. And I'm the jury's still out. I mean, if I had to pick, it's like gun to your head, make a decision. No, he's a puppet and he makes poor decisions. But I do like him fighting for his guys, man. I mean, I like even if you suck as a coach, manager, whatever, like you got to go to bat for the guys, because otherwise you don't have their respect, and you got to have it. And that's kind of important. So I like that. I'm still not sold on everything else. It's just the way it is. Dead air. Thanks. Yeah, that's good. Good stuff.
I do agree. I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but that's just because that's who I am. But I don't know. I don't know that this team gets over the hump with Marmol still as the manager.
Did you know that this was their longest win streak since they had the win streak back in 2017?
No, this is what was did they say what the previous one was before this? Like
19,
like 6 or 7? I thought it was 19.
2019. I'm sorry. It was 19, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was only like 6 or 7 was their longest win streak prior to that, right?
Yeah. So I mean, still big achievement, because a lot of teams don't win 9 games in a row. In baseball, it's extremely difficult to do that because there's always going to be somebody shuffled in and out, because God forbid dudes play an entire season and don't miss a game. There's no Cal Ripken Jr. walking through the door of the clubhouse anytime soon in any locker room in Major League Baseball. So somebody's got to have a day off, and to consistently win, no matter who you're playing, 9 games, hats off to them. And then they made up a lot of ground in the division because they were in 4th place. Now they're in 2nd. So, yes, they do have a chance. Matter of fact, I think the odds for them to still make the playoffs are 27.8%. 1.5% chance to win the World Series.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there. Where's all that 1 in a million talk? Like right there. There. That's where it's
maybe
at.
I should wander on up to the Illinois side and make a $50 bet on the Cardinals to win the World Series.
Actually, Jason, I'm pretty sure that if you downloaded a betting app on your phone, and what's that little road that goes right there in Herculaneum, right by the riverfront? I think it's by the smokestacks.
Yeah, you pick up an Illinois tower.
Yeah. Yep, which means you could place a bet right there. I know people who do, so I'm telling you.
Why can't we just place a bet? It's so stupid.
Well, we should be able to. We should. Because I'm pretty sure the voters of Missouri said we want sports betting. But that hasn't come to fruition right now. Jason, if I knew that, I would be an app developer, and teaching would be a job that I necessarily wouldn't have to do because I would have all kinds of money. I would do it just out of the goodness of my heart, or I would just coach, or I just would say, I'm out,
Like your internet.
I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. It's usually.
I know how my life rolls, and that ain't gonna happen. I'd have a better chance of being homeless and outside with no place to eat or no place to live. But
homeless people make a lot of money. They really do. Those people are up there on the on I-70, like right before you get into Independence, Missouri. I think they did like a big story on them. They make like $45,000 a year just sitting out there every day.
Tax-free.
Tax-free, man. Straight
oh
cash.
My God. Ron, you missed it. We already talked about them. Ron, you would be happy. The back of this hat. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Wow. Look at you.
The only reason it was in Dylan's closet, I took off my school garb and put this on.
Too funny. Coach Rhodes, you have to go back and watch the show on YouTube or Facebook or on the X. We're going to take a commercial break. We come back. We got plenty more to talk about. You are watching the Coach's Box Call Like See It podcast. We shall return.
I'm the guy sitting next to your girl on the kiss cam.
And this game just got a lot more interesting.
Sheila? Mom?
Fire!
And if you don't have the right home coverage, you might have to kiss your savings goodbye. Let's go, beat it. So get Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Bro!
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Daikin and Dave Mars.
Good. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Daikin about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Daikin dealer.
All right, back to one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com. In the hobby of collecting, check out Elite Collectibles, open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They carry a wide variety of sports cards, trading cards, magic cards, Pokemon cards, and other non-sports cards. Need some supplies? They also have sleeves, top loaders, boxes, and much, much more. They have online auctions every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and also do bulk grading submissions to SGC and CGC. Check out Elite Collectibles at 1258 Main Street in Imperial, Missouri. You can also view their entire inventory at www.elitecollecting.com.
You need new entertainment. You need full-length content. You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm Health Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling. We've got so much content on there. Gaming. Check it out. Live, not live. We've got it all. The Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today.
Hey, and welcome back. We're into our second segment, and some other things happened in baseball recently that really raised some eyebrows on some people. And I was actually happy. It's about damn time that Pete Rose was reinstated back into baseball. Now let's vote his ass into the Hall of Fame and quit being stupid. And then you got Shoeless Joe, and it's funny. I just watched 8 Men Out in my history of sports class at school recently, and yeah, let's get him in. What do you guys think?
How long will it take for them to actually get Pete Rose in?
I bet it's going to be a while. I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
It's either right away or it's going to be a while.
Well, here's the problem.
He's now in the Veterans Committee, right?
Yes, he would be with the Veterans Committee. That in itself is going to make it difficult because you know that there's going to be some people who obviously when you're talking about the what he did in baseball as a player, it sets him it's just a no-brainer, slam dunk, you're a Hall of Famer. As I've mentioned many times before, Pete Rose bet on baseball and was in a position to profit from it, whether you want to believe it or not. Everybody say, well, he didn't bet on his own games. Man, the guy lied for so long about the fact that he didn't bet on baseball. I don't believe that he did not. I think that he did. I think that there was some kind of line he crossed because he did it. And for whatever reason, he did it. And there's going to be a lot of people who think that that's as a lot of people think, because that was a bigger deal when there was no betting around sports back in the day, that's a cardinal sin, that's one you just don't come back from. So there are going to be people who think that despite everything that he's done, he does not be there.
It's America.
It doesn't matter.
We forget. Nope. We forget. I mean, Trump's going to pardon P. Diddy, I'm hearing. So, we forgive, we forget. That's what we do in this country. And, Pete Rose is in.
What's the line from the longest yard? Okay. You can steal money from your grandma. You don't shave points. You don't bet on the sport you're playing. You don't bet on the sports you're coaching in. It
was terrible. Pete Rose, stupid.
That's the problem. But it was a lifetime ban for Pete Rose, and I said this when he passed away. That's now when they should do something. And I spoke into existence.
I think Shoeless Joe gets in before Pete Rose does.
I agree with
that too.
But the thing is about Shoeless Joe is there is a lot of circumstance around how much involvement he had with the whole Black Sox when their cheating scandal was.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not. So I think Joe Jackson makes the Hall of Fame before Pete Rose. Pete Rose is that's going to be a massive discussion by the Veterans Committee.
Well, if it's not next year, it's going to be several years down the road. He either gets in, like I said, right away, or it's going to take a while.
Yes. So. I think, good God, Jason, drink a Red Bull or something.
I've not
all the
had
time
an energy drink since December.
Attaboy, good job.
December of 2024.
Yeah, that's when December was.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for that. Yeah. Thanks, Jason, and Google Calendar, and the fact I know what year it is. So, I mean, do I think he should be in? Yes. Now I think it's fine. I think you put him in. Personally, I do. I think the fact that he signed the agreement that banned him from baseball, put him in a lifetime ban, I think he honored it because he never was in the Hall of Fame while he was alive. His lifetime is over. It is time for him to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't have any vote, say, or anything on it. I can say
The
my
coaches
piece.
box doesn't have a voting.
No,
We don't
get
have a
that.
voting spot yet.
Kind of like some people did with Academic All State. I guess I forgot to check that box and send in that form too. Tongue in cheek. Thank you for everybody who did nominate and select their kids properly and on time.
I got a kid in
and,
for the first time.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of people, Jason, didn't realize that when it says March 1st, it actually meant March 1st. Like I had someone contact the other day and say, can they put a kid in that they were an AD and their coach didn't do it. And I'm like, well, you can't because it's May. So I'm sorry. So yeah. Anyway, but back to topic. I think I think Kevin is 1,000% correct. It either happens right away or it's going to take a while because all those people on the Veterans Committee, those old guard people that still, feel that that's a problem, they have to die and be removed from the committee by death. That's all there is to it.
It's like being on the Supreme Court.
There you go.
Yeah. So final thoughts on it. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't really have any other final. I just wonder, since it is the Veterans Committee, the way sports betting is now in this country, is it really that? Some people see it as not that big a deal anymore because betting on sports, whether it's your own or not, still wrong. But they'll look at it and say, well, betting on sports is so prevalent now. It would really be kind of would it be wrong to keep him out because he was betting on sports? That's where
I think because
I kind of go to that thought.
Go ahead. But I think yes, that's definitely in play. But the safeguards that they have against athletes and the coaches betting on their sports now, in comparison, I still think it's a big problem. I mean, let's just go ask Jonte Porter, who's can't ever play in the NBA. But it's I think the timing's very interesting because when do they announce Hall of Fame? When do they announce the Hall of Famers? It's at the All-Star break, isn't it?
No. I thought they did it in like January for that upcoming September.
Is it? Man, I need to look that up. That would have been a great thing for me to research.
But who's in charge of research tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, Jason.
Oh, well, all right.
Well, we're in trouble.
He was Google searching when 2024
Where's Zach McVay?
I just looked it up. They get inducted in July. They announce them in January. So, but the thing is when do the Veterans Committee meet? You know what I'm saying? Like, when do they start that process and put that, dear God, when do they put that process together and start? I think this is a very interesting timing by baseball. Instead of it being like in the winter meetings or, in the off season, I mean, it's May. So
they meet in December for the following year.
Wow.
So the class of 2026 the Veterans Committee will meet in December of 2025, which makes you wonder, will some of the newness of this wear off over the next 6 months before that committee even begins to talk or meet about any of this?
Mm-hmm.
So
that will be very interesting. Speaking of which, even though he was banned, his name never appeared on a major league ballot for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Never once appeared on there. Like, nobody said, I'm going to cross this dude off. Rafael Palmeiro, no. Pete Rose, yes. Nope, never did. So very, very interesting to see what's going to,
it does open up a very interesting question or debate moving forward. Hey, we're going to let a guy in who got a lifetime ban, but some of these other players who never got banned or punished, we're going to keep them out.
We're going to keep Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire out, who revived baseball after the freaking strike.
And weren't even suspended for any of this.
That is where I was kind of going to bring us into.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. You're going to let two guys that bet on games. But I mean, now Shoeless Joe's a little different to me, but they're in. But guys that used drugs that were not illegal at the time in baseball. Dude, I went back and watched the McGwire Sosa thing in class too recently because we're on baseball. It's what our finals over is baseball. And I just, that year in 1999, it just gave me goosebumps watching it again because we all, were relatively young during that time. I was in college still because I went for a while and should be a doctor. But and that was an awesome summer. And they revived baseball. You had Sosa, you had McGwire, you had Griffey in the race for a while. I mean, it was pure entertainment every night. They had the Sammy cam and the McGwire cam, And I'm sorry, but I mean, McGwire's probably Hall of Famer before that.
Well, here's the
Sammy, not so much, maybe, but McGwire, his Oakland days,
yeah, but he was juicing then too.
Probably.
That was
no
thing.
him.
All right, so
we're not. The Bash brothers were
definitely.
They had clean pee every time. May not have been theirs.
They did.
It had estrogen in it, but clean.
Kevin, you were going to say?
I was just going to say, yeah, there's no way Ken Seiko was juicing. Yeah.
Wow. So interesting. This all brings up a very interesting thing. If they let Rose in, you have to now really consider these guys who did steroids because they have actually been on the ballot and received votes. It's not an easy fix. These are guys that have actually been on the ballot. These are guys that have actually performed. And as you said, they've never been suspended. They've never been take it back. Alex Rodriguez has been suspended.
Sosa was suspended, but that was for a corked bat.
Yeah.
That's a corked bat. Definitely not the same thing. Torpedo bat, corked bat, whatever. The point is, what do you do now when you've let these guys in, when you let Rose in? That's also something I think that might prevent Pete Rose from getting into the Hall of Fame. They only lifted a lifetime ban. So since the Cincinnati Reds have already went and honored him, I believe today, the fact that they could do that or whatever, they were already or planned it. I don't know. I've already read something about it, but that doesn't guarantee Rose to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think this is one of the reasons that might hold it up, because if you let him in, what about these other guys?
Who's the one that opens the floodgates for everybody else?
Pete Rose is the one who opens the floodgates for everyone. He's the domino. Yeah. He's the first one that would have to fall, because then, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how, I personally don't know how these guys who actually have been kept out of the Hall of Fame haven't sued baseball for defamation of character and everything else. I mean, you got to think they've been pretty much blackballed from a lot of stuff.
They probably don't want that closet of skeletons opened up either.
But what did Jason just say? There's America, forgive and forget.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes.
There's what, 28% of the baseball writer voters that vote for these guys every year, and some of them even more than that, to say they should be in the Hall of Fame. So Joe Public's going to be all about it. The people that grew up watching McGwire, Sosa, and enjoying the steroid era of baseball, when guys were hitting 300, mashing 30 to 40 home runs and driving in 120, we're all like, bring it back, please. Zach's telling everybody to do steroids.
It's entertainment. Don't you want to be
It is entertainment. I want entertained. If I'm going to go watch a game that's going to end in 2 hours and 5 minutes, I want to see some freaking Dong Johnsons, buddy. I want that.
You
home
sound
run.
like Jill the other night when we were at the game and it's 2-1, and she's like, "Man, Dad, this sucks."
You want to get people watching the game of baseball. You got to do what wrestling does. Just go ahead and make those guys big. Let's go.
Go ahead and make those guys big.
Yeah, let's go. Just do it. Hey, you sign a waiver. You made a life choice. Let's go. Get it done. I enjoy watching a good pitching duel. I enjoy watching that. But you're not going to bring the fans into baseball. Yeah, I didn't. I did not say it like that. I wanted to see some. I wanted to say dongs like Ding Dong Johnsons.
That ain't what you said. You said I want to see some dogs.
Home runs. Home runs. Home runs. Easy. It's a family show. Definitely. But it does bring up a very big conversation moving forward if they decide to, let Rose in. I think that's going to be the big holdup. I really do. Final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm agreeing, Chris. That might be the thing that breaks the camel's back on him getting in or not. But I do think people think. I mean, there's a lot of people think them roid people need to be in. So, especially our generation.
Yes.
Well, I should say my generation and below, you guys. But yeah.
You're old.
I'm not that far behind you, so.
I'm 49, man. It's rough.
45. So.
Wow.
Leave us 40-year-olds alone, Chris.
Almost over the cliff here, bud. We're going to go ahead and take our last break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA.
I'm watching it right now.
I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure during the break I'm going to hear about, my word mix-up. So you're watching the Coach's Box. We'll be right back.
I'm an overpowered leaf blower, and I'm not exactly street legal.
And if you don't have the right auto coverage, this could really blow your budget. So get Allstate, save money, and be protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Daikin and Dave Mars.
Good. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Daikin about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Daikin dealer.
All right, back to one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com. In the hobby of collecting, check out Elite Collectibles, open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They carry a wide variety of sports cards, trading cards, magic cards, Pokemon cards, and other non-sports cards. Need some supplies? They also have sleeves, top loaders, boxes, and much, much more. They have online auctions every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and also do bulk grading submissions to SGC and CGC. Check out Elite Collectibles at 1258 Main Street in Imperial, Missouri. You can also view their entire inventory at www.elitecollecting.com.
You need new entertainment. You need full-length content. You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm Health Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling. We've got so much content on there. Gaming. Check it out. Live, not live. We've got it all. The Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today.
I'd like to welcome back our whole 2 listeners and welcome you to the 3rd segment of Coach's Box. And we're going to talk about some people's least favorite sport of the major sports. And I know Kevin's one of them. We're going to talk about the NBA. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about something about the Coach's Box. Chris, how much is it costing everybody tonight?
Well, although your time
valuable,
is
yes,
valuable, and your dignity is something that you can sacrifice it. It is financially costing you $0 to watch this episode of the Coach's Box. We bring it to
exactly correct for free. Free on Facebook, free on YouTube, free on Twitch, Tyler Whaley, free on whatever social media we're on. It's free. X, Twitter. Free. Twitter was X. And then, Chris Miller's got to get back on the TikTok and make some more takes of some of the shows.
Dude, man, I ain't got time.
You got
man.
time. You ain't coaching. You just doing
that is in fact
off-season stuff. You only got so many hours that you're supposed to be around those kids, so you got time.
That is true with the hours and the time I can be around the kids.
That's what I might do for my new job. I might hit up Mission and say, hey, I will go around and see who is abusing the hours as coaches, and I will help report. And I got a couple right at the top of my list that I will go to. You're not one.
What's funny
Chris.
is, Jason, I know because I don't break that rule. What's really funny is I don't know if you could be very sneaky, Jason.
I am pretty big.
I don't
especially since
you're like Beverly Hills Ninja sneaky.
I wouldn't.
I'm gonna look at everybody and see if they're cheating.
No, I wouldn't do that anyway. But back to what we were going to talk about. A little NBA. Boy, do the Warriors look like total poo-poo without their main man Curry. Woo.
Well, I mean, if you lose your best player, and I've had that happen a couple times, you tend to struggle when everything's kind of built around that guy. So it's tough, real tough. I like Curry and I like the way the Warriors play. But I really like Anthony Edwards. I'm kind of pulling this for Minnesota to possibly make the finals.
I mean, they're up 3-1. And dude, you have to like Ant's mentality. I'm not comparing him to Jordan, but I'm saying that he may evolve into a person similar to a Kobe, because he kind of has that killer instinct, I think, in him. As kids would say, the dog in him, whatever you want to say. I mean, he just hit another shot. I mean, the guy's been phenomenal so far in the playoffs. The playoffs have actually been pretty entertaining. So sucks for our guy from St. Louis and Chaminade and Tatum and an Achilles tear. It's a hard injury to come back from. A lot of times you're never the same. I mean, Kobe did it at 35? I mean, whatever he was, and it worked out for him. But, I wish JT the best, and hopefully he comes back. I know he already had surgery and everything, and I hope he comes back strong and ready to go whenever he can. And just sucks, man. He had 42 points, I think, when he went out in that game. And probably could have had more. He missed several shots, but Celtics, they're not going to be able to win without him. I don't even know what they did tonight. I don't know who won that game, but
they play. I guess what would be Friday?
They played tonight. They played tonight before this game.
Oh,
but I don't know what they did. I don't have my phone.
What was the series? I can't remember now.
I thought they were down either 2-1 or 3-1, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
I actually going to look it up because I couldn't remember when.
I don't look on there and see who won tonight. I'm assuming they lost, but
I have zero
They
information
won.
on that.
Right
oh, they
handily.
won. Boston
They won
did.
127 to 102.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, so the series is 3-2.
Brown must have went off or something.
So it's tough the way the Knicks are playing. It's kind of like the Pacers, man. The Pacers, Pacers showed exactly what you have to do in the playoffs, and you have to just be really tough. And they got a bunch of dudes who just play hard.
And they got a motivated player, Halliburton or whatever. He's been dogged on by several people, everybody, and he has been phenomenal in the playoffs. He has been tough.
Well, Doug Schaefer, here's what I'll tell you. If Zach McVay was on the show right now, he would definitely have said, as soon as Jason came in with that and said, we're going to talk about the NBA, he would say rigged, because that's exactly what Zach thinks about the NBA. Everything is rigged, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. This isn't wrestling. It's not scripted. Sorry. I don't think Jason Tatum I don't think that was part of the script.
And I'm now.
He's not talking about Tatum with the word rigged.
I know
what
in a minute.
He's talking about the draft and how complete white stud basketball player who's going to be the number one pick, and all of a sudden they get the draft pick. I mean, they've had Dirk. They traded the other guy to the Lakers, and then all of a sudden they get the first pick so they can draft Cooper Flag.
Well, first off, you got a couple of dudes that played at Dallas who they were white, but they weren't American white.
No, but
and there's a lot of people who say that's different if you're not American white. Whatever, those people are dumb. I just like throwing it out there though, for argument's sake. By the way, the Mavericks didn't draft Luka. Just so you know.
I know.
The Hawks did. And then the Hawks traded Luka for Trae Young. Straight up.
That's right.
Swap. 1 for 1. So here's the thing. I wish the NBA would do the lottery literally like they're doing the Powerball drawing.
Didn't they used to do it like that?
Draw those ping pong balls out.
They used to do it like when the Magic got the number one pick, when they had Shaq and all that. They used to do it like that, I thought.
I don't know why they don't.
They've always been kind of like envelopes inside that thing that tumbles, and then they pull that big envelope out, which means they don't really tumble because they're too big to tumble as a big individually. But, they always talk about how they put something sticky on the corner so they knew which one it was to grab. But yeah, the ping pong balls. I don't even like the lottery in the sense if you really wanted to prevent things where people are trying to do this, is reverse the order of all the teams who did make the playoffs, give the one closest to the playoffs the first pick, and reverse.
I like that idea better than.
So you want to give the team that was closest to making the playoffs the first pick?
Yes. So you can't tank. Tanking gets you nothing other than like the 15th pick.
Yeah, the whole tanking thing sucks.
So you prevent the tanking by giving the team who did the best to not make the playoffs the first pick. So there is an incentive to winning.
So the thing that sucks about tanking is the leagues and the sports that have revenue sharing, like football does, like basketball does. These franchises will be like, okay, cool, yeah, whatever, we'll tank. I don't care, and because we're still
getting the revenue share, so yeah,
we're still getting money. It's not fair to those. It's not fair to the fans of those franchises. When I saw the draft order come out, I'm sitting there going, man, Charlotte just can't win. Now, they're also a crap organization in general, especially the second coming of them has been bad. Sometimes I forget they even have a team. even though they got uniforms and everything. But they just can't catch a break to get that kind of a player in that kind of, in the draft, like a Cooper Flag. So they have to draft better than what they have in the past. Like, you can't draft Cody Zeller. That will not work. By the way, that was the guy they picked.
Yes,
when they got
the
the 4th overall
Mavericks
pick.
had one. Here's why people think it's rigged. The Mavericks had a 1.8% odd to get the number 1 pick.
So you're saying there's a chance, right?
Okay, but I'm just saying.
Well, I know what you're saying, but how many? I'm one of the people who said that the NHL lottery 2 years ago was rigged when the Blackhawks won it, and freaking Connor Bedard is the guy that's right there because one of the original 6 needs a stud. You don't like your original 6 in hockey sucking.
No, you don't.
They need to be relevant. So guess what? They're gonna get the number 1 pick.
I mean,
I can see the NHL doing that. Sorry.
You got that draft round. I mean, you got the first round for NBA. You got Dallas, San Antonio,
that's wild.
Philadelphia, and all 3 of those guys. I mean, there's some quality players. They're really gonna change these franchises. And then the poor Charlotte Hornets get the 4th pick. It's like I mean, they get the first pick. They at least have Cooper Flag. They got somebody, hey, we have Cooper Flag. But no, we're the Hornets.
Cooper Flag is like, under no circumstances do the Hornets get the first pick. I'll pull an Eli Manning.
Back to school.
Yes.
To school.
So he goes, if I'm going to play in North Carolina, I'm going to play at Duke. It's really hard for even the NBA to try to defend themselves when people are calling it rigged, because there's really no way for them to prove that it's not without opening up the curtain and showing the magician's trick.
The ping pong balls, you see them, it's not rigged.
But I mean,
is that thing
in the way it's being done now, there's no way that they can prove that it's not.
So yes,
correct.
And you had Charlotte, Utah, and Washington. They had the best odds to get the number 1 pick.
4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. So does that look rigged? Yes, it does.
Yes. How about this? How about the Spurs, who are probably 1 player away from being in, pretty good contention? Now they have the 2nd pick in the draft in a very talented NBA draft. The Spurs will probably bounce back from what they've been the last couple of years. They get a healthy Wemby. Chris Paul stays healthy. Like I said, they'll probably add a couple of veteran guys, and they're going to get a good pick here. Oh, they also have the 14th pick in the draft.
Yeah, and they also traded they got De'Aaron Fox, and they got they got some pieces there at San Antonio, and them getting that high of a draft pick.
Who's going to be their coach? Have they named their coach yet?
Yeah, it was the guy who was the interim.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I should know this.
I should too, and
I'm not very good with trivia.
So the NBA mock draft from ESPN has the obvious one, Cooper Flag going to the Mavericks. Dylan Harper out of Rutgers to the Spurs.
He's pretty solid.
Ace Bailey going to the 76ers. It's the way too early one. And then the Charlotte Hornets picking up Baylor freshman VJ Edgecombe.
I mean, the 76ers are another roster you look at. You got Joel Embiid. You got Kelly Oubre or whatever. You got Tyrese Maxey. You got Kyle Lowry. Jared Butler, Eric Gordon. I mean, they have a solid, core there also for the 76ers, and they're going to add a high draft pick. So, I mean, several teams that are right there, like close in them top 5 picks. Man, Dallas looks good right now. I mean, Minnesota, sorry, not Dallas.
I was about to say,
Minnesota looks good.
Dallas looks pretty good where they're sitting, considering they were just in the finals last year.
Yes.
To maybe bounce back a little bit. I do feel that they've gotten rewarded for a very poor decision trading away their superstar.
But you still have to. I mean, as much as street clothes is street clothes, when street clothes is right, when he is right, and he plays, dude. When he plays, he can play on the defensive end. He alters a lot of shots, and when he is motivated, which I don't know what the hell motivates the guy. Evidently, no one does because he keeps getting bounced around. But I don't know.
Well, the question I got to ask you then is, if both guys are healthy, who do you take? Who do you want? Who's your guy? Do you pick Luka or do you pick Anthony Davis?
Luka plays no defense.
Well, Jason, here's a news flash. Okay, the NBA doesn't really play a lot of defense as on the average.
I know they don't, but when you get
notice more of the teams playing zone defense now. By the way, here's one for you. But you got to pick. Make a decision.
The answer is Luka for marketing purposes.
Yeah, but gosh, I'm gonna have to go.
Basketball
with Luka.
purposes, it's Anthony Davis. Marketing purposes, it's Luka.
Well, I agree, and I think, well, first off, I gotta say I'm gonna pick Luka for both, okay? Because Luka's younger, and in a league where you got to have a guy who can score to win games, I can find 4 other dudes and maybe hide him just enough to win. I didn't say it's perfect. Dallas couldn't do it. They didn't figure it out, and that's why they lost in the finals, because they were exploited the fact they could not pick up his slack for his defense. I think you can make him play enough defense in order to win. That also comes from holding him accountable for his conditioning and everything else. He has to be the one to do that. He's still young enough to do it. Anthony Davis has not proven he can stay healthy, and he can't score like Luka can. So I'm going to take that guy because at the end of the day, I want somebody who can.
You got to have someone who can make their own shot and get buckets in the NBA.
He can do that.
And he can do it.
Here's an interesting thing that Rob Logan, friend of the show. Hey, Rob, we're glad to see you're doing well, by the way. 76ers should trade for Giannis. Let's jump on the Giannis thing.
Yeah, the Giannis thing is interesting.
Because Giannis is saying he wants to explore, not playing in Milwaukee. And Giannis still has, 1 or 2 years of his contract left right now. What has he got? Is it?
I don't know.
3 with an option to walk after 2.
Something like that. I think you're right. Something like that.
He has some kind of option to where he can move, but he would like to be traded to a team. Now his contract makes it literally impossible unless you trade his money, that kind of money, for him. So many people are saying, I've already heard the 76ers should trade for him. I've heard Oklahoma City, if they lose and they don't win a championship, hell, even if they win the championship, they still might explore options for bringing in Giannis.
He'd look good in a Laker uniform.
I hope to God he does not go to the Lakers, because I don't need LeBron needs to lose continuously and then retire, and then I might go back to liking the Lakers. As long as he's there, I personally will never like the Lakers.
Quit being a fan because they got him.
I can. It's real simple. I don't root for them at all, and I hope they lose. Spurs would be an interesting option for Giannis too. How about trading the second pick in the draft and some other stuff for Giannis? Here's one. If you're Dallas, do you trade the number 1 pick? Dallas already said they're gonna keep the pick. That's we'll see. Do you trade the number 1 pick, or do you trade the number 2 pick and other pieces for Giannis? Or do you draft those
You
guys?
don't trade the option to pick Cooper Flag. Nope.
No. Do you trade the number 2 pick?
Yes.
I trade the number 2. Guys, I'm gonna make a bold statement. I trade the number 1 pick because Giannis is a proven commodity, and I'm not gonna go with the guy who's not. Cooper Flag's good, but I don't know if he's a once in a generation talent. Now he could be, but right now he's not, and he's not being sold as that. I'm trading for something that's known. I would trade the number 1 pick for Giannis, and I would try to sign him and build around him. And that's an easy fix. You want to talk about you got rid of Luka, and your whole fan base hates your face. Okay, they hate
bring in Giannis. Yeah, that
you fix all of that. You bring in a guy who can score. You can bring in a guy who can rebound, and he can play both ends of the court. No questions asked. He is super talented, and he's still young enough. I would trade for the guy that's a
Could you imagine having him and Davis?
That would be Twin Towers.
That would be a tough tandem.
When healthy.
I still struggle with as a GM, if I trade that away, in the back of my head is always going to be the thought, if Cooper Flag wins wherever he goes before I win with Giannis, I will never get a job again.
Well, the thing is, though, is it's kind of like trading a baseball card. At that point in time, your baseball card is worth this, and I'm going to trade for one that I know is worth this. But I might regret it later on, but in that moment, I know for a fact what this is worth. I know what Giannis is worth right now. Giannis is worth me going from being maybe a good team to a championship team literally overnight. Literally, the Lakers were on the verge of monumental collapse this year. They trade for Luka. What'd they do? They won games. Now, it didn't help them in the playoffs because, LeBron's going to blame everybody else.
LeBron sucked in the playoffs.
Did LeBron have some kind of injury again to finish the playoffs? And, apparently, I guess he needed a kidney or something. I mean, he's always got some kind of injury.
He pulled his ego.
Oh, he pulled some muscle for sure. But, it was an instant surge for the franchise. And then, boom, they're right into the playoffs. They were on like draft lottery trajectory. They were not going to make the playoffs. So that's how big of a boost they got from getting a guy like him. What does Giannis do for a franchise? That's the question you have to ask. I mean, if I'm Charlotte right now, I'm calling Milwaukee and I'm saying, we will give you everybody for this guy. And I know he has like a no trade clause, blah, blah, blah. I think he has a lot of say on where he goes. But man, if I'm a team that can make it happen, I'm trying to swing it. Hell, if I'm the Lakers, I try to swing it. If I'm the Clippers, I try to swing it. Everybody should be on the phone. If I'm the Warriors, I will trade Draymond to make it happen.
I don't know if anybody wants Draymond. Do you think people want Draymond? I don't want Draymond.
I don't know if the NBA wants Draymond. They're probably looking for a reason to suspend him indefinitely after him questioning the officiating again.
He's so annoying.
So Ron Rose brings up a good question. What is Cooper Flag? Is he Jason Tatum or is he Adam Morrison?
Ooh, what a great comparison.
He's way better than Adam Morrison.
Well,
do you remember how good Adam Morrison was?
That's what I'm saying.
He was the great white porn stash hope. I mean, he the way his hair is and his mustache is, all the kids look like that now. Adam Morrison was that. He was the guy.
Mel Kiper wanted the Raiders to pick Adam Morrison. He was that good.
I love it.
That was
I
pretty
love
good,
it.
Kevin. You got one there.
But what how good is Cooper Flagg? And that's another reason why taking these guys 1 year out of college, you don't get to see them play at the highest level.
Cooper Flagg went and played with all those NBA guys, and every one of those NBA guys this past summer were impressed. And the way he was scoring elite points against those guys at that time.
So
were they playing the best defense?
No.
The NBA don't play. Like you said, the NBA don't play no defense.
They do in the playoffs.
On the high end, the Cooper Flagg comps are typically going the route of Tatum, Pippen, or Kawhi. Those are the comps that they're giving Cooper Flagg.
Then he's a generational talent.
So
no,
but
he is. If that's the
Adam
comp,
Morrison, that's what I'm just saying.
Okay. The comp is that's where he could be, not where he is walking into the NBA right now. Walking into the NBA, can't miss once a lifetime talent was LeBron James, was Shaquille O'Neal, were these guys who are you can't
Kevin
miss
Garnett.
this guy. Garnett went fifth.
Garnett wasn't. They Kwame Brown was a thought of higher at the time he was drafted.
Well, they were stupid. They were stupid.
I'm just saying.
Well, there's a lot of stupid people who make these kinds of
No,
decisions.
I wish I could make some decisions, but I don't.
Zion Williamson was a guy that everybody said you can't miss this guy either.
He was the next LeBron.
Kyrie Irving, John Wall, Derrick Rose. I mean, these are guys like, okay, you know for a fact that you're going to draft this guy.
Darko Milicic.
He's the guy. Him. No, definitely no. I mean, I got to play this game because I was having this conversation with Trimmer the other day. How about this? The draft that it was LeBron's draft. It was the 2003 draft. Tell me which one doesn't belong in the conversation. You've got LeBron, Darko Milicic, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. Which one doesn't belong?
Darko, whatever.
I'll give you time.
It's Darko.
Cleveland selected LeBron. Yeah, everybody knew that. Detroit had the second pick, and they picked Darko. Denver got 3 and got Carmelo. Toronto got Bosh at 4. Dwayne Wade at 5. Then the next guy. Does anybody remember the next guy? Chris Kaman.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? That's a throwback. Yep. Chris Kaman, Kirk Heinrich, TJ Ford, Mike Sweeney, Jarvis Hayes, and then Mikhail Petrus, who played at Golden State. He was just a solid player. But I don't know if there is anybody else. Let's see whoever else made. Kyle Korver was in that draft.
Good shooter.
Yeah, I mean he was okay. David West, solid player, and Mo Williams. So that was the only All-Stars that came out of that draft. But that was that top 4 was like, you can't mess this up. And Detroit said, dude, hold my beer. I can show you how we're going to mess this up. What are you doing? Like, everybody knew Dwayne Wade was good. Everybody knew.
Darko was the European Adam Morrison, a can't-miss prospect.
European. What messed that whole draft up was the fact that Yao Ming was the number 1 pick a year before. So it was like, You've got everybody trying to find the next Dirk, and it's like there's not a next Dirk. There's only one Dirk, and everybody's looking for these guys coming over. And Yao Ming was good. Okay, we're gonna go get him. Okay, and Denver had the 5th pick in the draft the year before, and they picked some guy. Still can't pronounce his name. He only played 4 years.
Who the heck was that?
Nicholas Shizvili.
Ugh.
And a couple of picks later, they could have got a guy named Amari Stoudemire. He was okay. Kareem Rush was in that draft. He could have been picked. Caron Butler.
Caron Butler was solid, man.
Yep, he had a good career. Carlos Boozer was in that draft. Tayshaun Prince. Even though I hate
I wasn't a
Tayshaun
Prince fan.
Solid
player.
Solid for Detroit. Won a championship. You again, the draft for me is guys who look like they're gonna do something and then they don't. Anthony Bennett, who was the number one pick for the Cavaliers, he only played 4 years and he played for 4 different teams and he washed out. Number one pick. So you just don't know what these guys.
You mean they could be like a Gary Odom?
Greg, not Gary Odom, who can't call plays correctly.
Greg
from
Odom.
Bubble screen.
Oh, Greg Odom.
That's a great question, Rob. Your draft or a great statement. You're drafting potential, not ability right now. The problem with that is you need to be drafting guys who can play right now to save your franchises to try to win. Otherwise, you're cheating. You're just cheating the fans. And I know that owners don't care when they're making money, revenue sharing, blah, blah, blah. Or you're the Charlotte Hornets forever, or you're the Pelicans who the Pelicans is the stupidest name for an NBA team. I'd rather have the Bobcats than the Pelicans. How dumb is that? Move the Jazz back to New Orleans. Give Utah the Mammoth or whatever, and let's just freaking move on.
Let's get the Seattle Supersonics back.
The Supersonics. Send them over there. Seattle needs
I'll ask this. You guys are bigger NBA fans than I am. Who is the worst overall number one pick of your memory?
Anthony Bennett. Then Greg Odom.
Yeah, Greg Odom's up there, man.
Kwame Brown is
Kwame Brown had a solid career though.
I'm on the Michael Olowokandi.
Oh, there's one.
Forgot about the Candy Man.
It was at Pacific University.
Well, I would think Len Bias was a bad draft.
That's him. Len Bias wasn't the number one pick though. Actually, Olowokandi played in 500 games though, Kevin.
Yeah,
it's still a long time, and he was a big guy. And those guys don't tend to last very long. Anthony Bennett, I feel like, is the biggest bust. He played in 151 games. That's it. That is it, man. And 4 different teams in 4 years. And
Purvis Ellison, 1989.
Nervous Purvis, I think he had a better career.
Yeah. Purvis Ellison.
You have to go back way before my time.
Purvis Ellison is one when you search it. That's when it comes up.
I will say this. There's not many that you can completely miss on the number one pick. There have been a couple, but for the most part, at minimum, they are solid NBA players. You want the bigger impact, but you don't other than some of those names that we've listed, they haven't been complete blowouts.
Okay, I've got a trivia question for you guys.
Well, you know I suck at this.
What are the only two? There's two franchises who've won the NBA lottery. So from 1985 to now, that have had they've had the number one pick, and they won a championship with their number one pick. There's only 2 franchises that have done it.
Well, the Lakers have.
Cleveland.
That is a negative.
They won a championship with their number one pick?
Not with the number one overall pick.
They didn't. Not with their number one overall pick.
Hey,
Cleveland. Not somebody else's number one. Cleveland is one, but it's not. LeBron had to go away, and then come back for them to win.
The thing. He was their number one pick, and he won it with Cleveland.
But they really count because they won it with Kyrie Irving.
Oh, okay.
Because he was their number one pick.
Let's see, who would the
and
other
he never
one
left
be?
when they won it. Oh, it's an easy one. You got it.
Michael Jordan?
No, he wasn't
Jordan
first
was picked
overall.
third.
you're saying
that was
first
the pre-lottery.
overall. I thought you said teams.
First overall
teams
pick.
First pick.
Yeah, listen to the question, Jason. You're like the damn kid. 1985, number one pick. The lottery started in 1985 with Patrick Ewing. Number one pick to win the title with their pick.
It's probably an easy one, but I don't know enough NBA history to necessarily think about it.
San Antonio.
And
they did it. They did it with two of their guys, Tim Duncan and David Robinson, because he didn't leave. He stayed in the franchise. So out of all these teams that have had the number one pick, only two of them have turned the number one pick into championship fortunes. To me, there is a slight curse that goes with it because you have all the pressure of having to win with this guy, and you do fall into the trap of, if we don't put enough around this guy by the time his rookie deal is up, does he re-sign with us, and does he move on? Does he go somewhere else to try to win? Because the incentive is to max. You get the incentive you get the extra year on the max deal with staying with your team instead of leaving. So you get the extra year, you get more money. But if you're trying to win and you're going to make money, why wouldn't you leave? Why wouldn't you be honest and ask for the trade? So it is very interesting to see what's going to happen. I'm always fascinated with the NBA draft. Even now, when I don't really watch the NBA like I used to, I always enjoyed watching the draft and watching teams move, either drafting a guy and trading him right away, big draft night trades, and
it just
seeing what your teams.
It would just always confound me in the NBA draft that teams would draft a player, and then the team right after them would draft, and then they just swap those players, and I never understood why.
I can't answer that question. I totally agree, and I don't know why.
Like,
either.
If you wanted that guy, just
I have
pick
thought
him.
about that. I don't know. Maybe it was you need to make sure you pick this guy, and then we'll pick this guy, and then we'll switch.
You mean like a Chris Webber deal, like when he drafted and then traded, and then?
But I mean, it would be like
Chris Webber.
It would be like the Luka, Trae Young thing, because aren't they drafted like right next to each other and then swapped?
Pretty close, yeah, pretty close. Chris Webber was drafted first, then Sean Bradley, and then Penny Hardaway. And Hardaway was drafted by the Warriors, and Orlando drafted Chris Webber.
Traded.
Well, that's because Shaq said you need to get Penny Hardaway. By the way, you want to watch a good documentary? The Shaquille O'Neal documentary on Prime.
Yeah, that's good.
It's really good. Yep. Really good. I just like
Dude,
Shaq.
he is such a nice human being.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
The stuff he does for people is phenomenal.
Yep, absolutely.
Guys, another free show.
We didn't have we didn't charge anybody for this. I felt like we had good conversation. Yeah. We didn't have Zach saying crap was rigged and being a negative Nelly. Jason hasn't fallen asleep yet. I mean, it's been good. It's been a good time.
He's come close.
Dude, I am. I think I have. What is that? Narcolepsy, where you fall asleep? Isn't that the one?
Yeah, Jason.
Literally,
Jason, you're suffering from TMB. Too many birthdays. You're falling asleep.
Oh, I'm getting old. You're right.
I kept trying to figure out
too many beers, but I was like, hey, I need beer.
Could be that too. You never know. But guys,
side effect of grumpiness and sleepiness.
As we get into the summer months, you know what? We've had a lot of virtual shows, especially this year, because we're all.
Show.
I think we're going to try to start maybe having a couple of shows in person again.
Then we might actually get Jim to show up.
We'd have to go north of the Merrimack.
We'd have to go to his bar. But I mean,
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure something out, but that's something that's been kicked around a little bit, so we might be getting back into that.
Joel, I'm sure I could get us back into La Pachanga.
Oh man, that'd be good to have a show there again and have some good
back
food.
to the roots.
I know, right?
Man, have me a Brothers Pizza.
Brothers Pizza, yeah, always good stuff at La Pachanga. Well,
hey, good stuff, guys. They call me Mr. You know who that is, Chris?
Oh yeah. He's one of our followers on Twitter and YouTube. So appreciate the shout out. He's a good dude, real good dude. Check out his stuff on YouTube. You can always see all that for free, just like you see all of our stuff for free. There's a lot of great stuff for free that's out there. We're one of them. Well, okay. There's a lot of stuff for free out there, and we're one of those. Yeah, we're one of them. So for all the guys here, appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, you can always subscribe, like, share, comment. You can always go back and watch later on YouTube, for Facebook for another 16 days before they delete all the stuff because I guess they run out of space. Thanks, Zuckerberg. You suck. And you can watch on the X.
Oh, Zuckerberg.
Yep. And we will see you guys all next week, more than likely. So until then, good night. God bless and take care. We'll see y'all. Bye-bye.
This episode of the Coach's Box, Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.